Welcome back, true creators. Swag here. Today we're going to build a sprint system with a working stamina bar, and it's going to level up your game in minutes. Let's just go ahead and dive in. Okay, so we're starting out in a 5.5 project. This is a third-person template. We're going to go straight to our content folder. We're going to go to our third person and into the blueprints folder. Now right here, this is where we're going to build all of our logic. We're just going to do a right click, and we're going to use user interface, and we're going to use the widget blueprint. Just a regular user widget. Now, right here, you're just going to type in W underscore, and we're going to call this main UI. And enter, and do a Control-Shift-S, and that'll save your progress. So let's go ahead and double click that. Now, right here, while we're in this the event graph here, we're just gonna we're gonna start off with a canvas, and we're gonna drag and drop it right here. And then we're gonna need another thing called a progress bar, and we're just gonna grab and drag and put that on to the actual canvas, and we can just manually drag and drop and adjust our progress bar, which will be our stamina bar, and make it however we want. Okay, I'm just gonna put it down here, make it pretty big and towards the middle. Okay, so now right here, while this is highlighted, well, first, before we do that, let's go ahead and name it. Call it a stamina bar, enter, and we'll do a compile and save. And then right here, we're gonna need to anchor, okay? So we're gonna just go ahead and do this middle bottom anchor for this. Now this is just whenever you're dealing with, like if you're playing this game on a phone, or if you're playing on a computer or whatever, it'll adjust to the screen. That's why you do this. Now, right here under the style, while this is still highlighted, you can see it's still highlighted, right? We're going to select this background image right here, and we're just gonna select the fill for it. Now, we're gonna make this, because this is gonna be the background, we're gonna make it yellow, and that's what most games do with stamina bar. I'm gonna make it like a dark yellow, okay? That's what we're gonna do right here. Hit OK. And then we can minimize that back. And what we want to do right here is we want to, instead of having the bar fill from left to right, we're going to flip that to from right to left, okay? Now, before I show you how it's going to work, we're also going to go down to Appearance under the Fill Opacity right here, and we're going to select this one and make this the bright yellow, because this is what's going to pop up on top. So let's just go ahead and hit OK right here once we have our desired color. Then right here under progress, under the percent, we can drag and we can see exactly how it's going to look when we do it. While we're here, just go ahead and leave it at the full, which is fine. Hit a compile and a save. And just to be safe, you can always do a Control-Shift-S at any time, and that saves everything. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the graph. For the graph, we don't need any of this. We can just go ahead and delete this. And the only thing we're going to need to start out with is the stamina bar. And for the stamina bar, we're just going to hit the get. We're going to drag off of it. And what we want to grab here is something called set percent, and it's the function. So set percent. We don't want this green one here. We want the set percent function, okay? And then with this set percent function, we're just going to drag off of here, and we're going to type in divide, okay? And divide is the operator that we're going to need to make our little system here work. Now, we're going to need a custom event. You can just hit right click, type in CUST and enter, and that'll give you the custom event. And for this, we're just going to name it update stamina. Let's see, stamina bar, okay? And enter, and we can just drag off of here and have that on there. Now, the way percentages are calculated, it's going to be by the normal stamina, which is this top number, which is A. And we're going to also do the bottom number, which is going to be the max stamina. Now, while this is highlighted, and you see how it says A and B here, we're going to change those variables real quick. That's where we're going to enter our variables. So we're going to just call this stamina and enter. And then we're going to call this max stamina down here. Now, stamina, see, the stamina you see there, stamina. Now the stamina you see here, it's just a representative of the current stamina. So that's what we're going to plug into these, and this will be the max stamina, obviously. So we can do a compile and a save. Okay, so for this next part, let's go ahead and go back to our content drawer. We can leave this up for now. It's fine. And what we want to do is we're going to double click and open up the third person character. Okay, so right here, we're going to need to make a little bit of something to create our widget. So we're just going to right click and we're going to do an event begin play. Okay. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to right click, we're going to create a widget, and we can connect that up. And then right here, we want to do the W main widget we just created. So we definitely want to have that. And then right here, we're just going to drag off of here and we're going to promote that variable. And for the name of that variable, we're just going to call it main widget, or I'm sorry, main, let's do main UI ref. Okay. And then finally, we need to, let's see, I think we can drag off of here and we're going to add to a viewport. Okay. Just make it nice and neat. Do a compile and a save. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to build, we're going to add some variables here. For the first variable, it's going to be a Boolean, but we're going to call this is sprinting. Question mark. Okay, and then what we're going to need is to add another variable, and we're going to change this to a float, and we're going to call this stamina. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add another one here, and we're just going to call this stamina max. Actually, I'm going to change that. I'm just going to call this max stamina instead. Control Shift S. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start building some of the logic here. And I'm going to speed this part up and then I'll explain what's going on. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so right here, let me explain what's going on. So I've created this custom event for regen stamina, and we're going to trigger this in our other thing. We're actually building backwards. So we're building from the end result to the main result. So, right, so we're going to go here. If the current stamina equals 0, then if that's true, we're going to basically wait 7 seconds, and then we're going to set the max stamina to the current stamina. So it's going to basically instantly just add you back to full after 7 seconds. That's all this is for. Now, once we do that, we must set this as well to 1, because if you don't, then the stamina bar won't fill, but you'll still have your stamina. Now, let's go ahead and look at this here. So if we highlight one of these stamina things here, I'm going to undock this, right click and undock. Now, right here, the stamina is 0, so we're going to want to go ahead and put 100 for that, okay? And we can do that for the max. So we want to make sure both are exactly the same. Let's try that again. There we go. So yeah, so now that's what's going on up here. Now, this stamina low is going to change the actual walk speed. So when stamina hits 0, it's going to set the walk speed. We're going to set it to like, I'm going to say 250. And that'll make us have like a walking type movement. Now, the way I pulled this up was I just grabbed it from right over here. If you watch the sped up, I grab and move it, put it right here, and that's it. And then I just put this little print string here, on the upper left, it'll print out 0, stamina 0. So now we know we're in that walking phase, okay? we can do a compile and a save. All right, let's go ahead and move over next door right here. Okay, and for this next part, I'm going to actually build the drain logic, and I'm just going to show you here, and then I'll explain it. All right, here we go. Okay, let me go ahead and explain what's going on here. Okay, so to start out with, we're gonna do the set timer by event, and we're gonna make a custom event like I just showed, and we're gonna set this to 0.5, okay? And then we also wanna set this to looping, so every 5 seconds, we're gonna have our drain logic activate and create our low stem effect, okay? Now, right here, we're gonna, every 0.5 seconds, we're gonna subtract 10, okay? And remember it's gonna be 100, our stamina, if you highlight it here, you can see it's 100 stamina. And that's what we're draining, so that's where that's gonna happen. And that's the basics of what's going on here. This is just merely the drain logic, and this is connecting to this logic right here, this regen, sound, everything here, okay? All right, so now what we need to do is we're gonna need to build the return value of this up top. So I'm gonna do it, and I know it's a little bit backwards, but like I said, this is the best way to do it for this particular logic. So, all right, so I'm gonna go right above here, and right up here is where I'm gonna build it. So, all right, just sit back, relax, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna build out this logic and explain it as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this code here. So right here, I'm using the left shift to hold down. That's pretty common in most games, so that's why I've used that here. And then I'm going to use the right here for where I just used this Boolean here and set it. We're gonna just go ahead and add a check mark here to say that yes, it's true that we're doing that, okay? And then right here, we're gonna, since it's hold down, this is gonna increase our speed. So we're gonna make our speed 1,500, okay? And then for our normal walk speed, we're gonna set this to 250, okay? And then let's see, so right here, yeah, so when you hold it down, you're gonna do the normal walk, and then it's gonna go right into the drain logic, right? Which is, if you go back, the drain logic is right here. Oh no, I'm sorry. The drain logic is right here, okay? And then right here, we're going to set it to false when we release the shift key and set it to our normal walking speed, which will be this here. Oh, and while we're here, if you want to make it more consistent, just make sure you hit the actual movement thing here, and you can type in max walk speed, right? If you spell it right, not do like me. Yeah, and instead we could just highlight this, and instead we're just gonna go ahead and put 250 and hit enter, and that'll give us our max walk speed, and we can just do a compile and a save, okay? So now everything's matching, okay? So when you initially start the game, you're not walking at 500, you're walking at 250, right? So like I said, so we got those two things here. We've got the speed set, we got the drain logic only when we're going fast, and the normal logic will clear and invalidate the timer. So it'll stop this timer and it'll reset it. And then the regen will kick. Now, the regen, when you double click here, it's just going right to where our regen is here. See that? And that's where we go through all the stuff I explained before, okay? So, anyway, I hope that was pretty clear. Okay, so now let's go ahead and test out our project here and make sure we've got our stamina working. So go ahead and go to the third person, hit the play, and then right here, I'm just gonna hit F11 just to zoom in. And then right here, all we're gonna do is we're gonna walk normally. You see that we're walking slow. And then we're gonna hold down the shift button and then we can run. Yep, look at mannequin run. Now you see that we're at 0. Now we're walking. There's nothing we can do. We can't go any faster. Remember, after 7 seconds, you're gonna see it repopulate and you can sprint again. And that's it, right there. Now, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you got stamina 0, and then wait another 7 seconds, and we're all set. Nice, you completed the video. Let's see what you can do with the next one. Let's go.